Good evening and welcome to a Meldon Law Monday. And it's going to be a fun one tonight because we have something special to talk about. Although there are people telling me I'm crazy for making such a big thing out of this win. Well, I got news for you. It was a big thing, and I'll tell you why. It was a terrific night in the swamp. It was nice to see a young, courageous quarterback play like he did. And DJ's not only just special as a kid, he's also what a hell of a football player. And he gave us some juice on Saturday afternoon. It was a good day at the swamp, and I think it's going to be more significant than what you think. I know I've had people tell me it's just one game. No, it's a lot more than one game, but it is one game, and what a game it was. So tonight we'll have our usual Monday night crew. Shane Matthews standing by in the orange and blue room. We'll get his take on it. He's not easily impressed, I know, but that's okay. And then Kevin Brockleway, a really good reporter who was there, covered, saw the game, will join us at his fans' beard night. The Iron Duke is in the house. So broadcasting tonight from a new location here in Ocala at a bed and breakfast. So hopefully I'm getting through to you okay. And we will enjoy the night. I'm going to enjoy the night, so stand by. The Buddy Martin Show is about to be on the air here any moment as soon as I find all my stuff. Yep, stand by.
Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening and welcome to the program. It's Meldon Law Monday. I'm Buddy Martin. We have this show 4 nights a week and sometimes more. And you'll catch me with Shane Matthews on Tuesday morning. Pot up with Matthews. He's standing by. I can't wait to hear what he's got to say. And hey, look, it sure feels good. Like my partner, Chris Spears, who takes those wonderful photos for Anybody Said. We got home probably about 10 o'clock, 9:30, and we had gotten home really, really late after the night game earlier 2 weeks ago when Florida lost. He says it's a whole lot better to be home early and after a win than being home late after a loss. So you're right, it was. Look, we're journalists. We try to be objective, but look, we're also fans. So we're fan journalists, a new word I've invented. So let's go right to the orange and blue room and see where the man himself is, the guru of all quarterbacks. I can't wait to him tell me, what does this mean? What do we see? I harken back to moments I remember 4 or 5 quarterbacks playing, and the first time I saw them complete a big pass play. And Shane Matthews, I could sense something great about that, just as I could about Lagway on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, DJ played well. I thought it was Billy's most complete game since he's been the head coach here. Defense gave up a lot of third downs, which I don't know if that was the plan or not, but they played a lot of soft zone coverage, kept the ball in front of them, didn't give up any explosive plays. And I don't know if it was a bizarre game. I don't know if I've ever watched a football game where one team had 42 minutes, the other one had 18 minutes, and 92 plays to 40-something plays. It was crazy, but it was a great atmosphere, a great win, obviously one that we needed because, basically if you think back, year one, Billy beat a ranked team against Utah. Year 2, he beat it at home. Year 2, he beat a ranked Tennessee team at home, and then you beat a at the time ranked LSU team at home. So just got to find ways to win more games moving forward. But it was definitely a good win for the football team, and I thought the coaches had a good plan, and the players played well.
You kept saying this. I heard part of the broadcast that this bend but don't break defense puzzled you. And I know several people, and you know one of them, who said they got to put more pressure on the quarterback on third down. As it turned out, it worked out fine. The defense fell in place, got pass rush. The front four really played the best game of the year they played, I thought. Able to get pressure just with the four they got there. And they put heat on. Look, LSU giving up 6 sacks all year, right? And they got 7 on them that night. That's a heck of a night for the defense.
Yeah, it's interesting because they'd only given up 6 sacks, but everybody was complaining, or I don't know if complaining is the right word, but was talking about how poorly their offensive line had played this year. That was supposed to be the strength of their team in the preseason, but hadn't played real well. But yeah, the Gators, we didn't bring. I mean, I always say if you can play coverage, which we did, like zone coverage, and get after the quarterback with your front four, that makes life a lot easier. Now, I know we gave up like I said, a lot of third downs, but the bottom line is how many points does the opposing team score?
If they give 100 third downs, if they give 100 third, I mean, and not only that, I love the fact that they finished the game off the way they finished the game off, because they had every reason maybe to not do that after that field goal, and you knew they were going to get a field goal. You know what happened, and by golly, you know what? Hats off to Billy, to CJ, and that what a terrific run by Ball. That guy can go now. He's a big man. He can run. And that was a brilliant 55-yard run by him. And these two youngsters and a few others. Mizell has really good games. I keep checking myself to make sure I'm not getting too ebullient about this team. But I've heard more people outside of the Gator spectrum, people who are analysts doing other networks, raving today about DJ. And in fact, Dusty Dvorak, who was on the SEC today, said he might be the best quarterback in the country next year. So obviously, and I thought back about this, Shane. I wasn't here for your debut when you against Oklahoma State, but I know I saw you play early on. I thought about the times I saw quarterbacks. And when you're old, you have the advantage of at least having seen a lot of people. And I remember the 4 or 5 or 6 plays and players, and whether it's Doring's pass he got for Werfel, or Steve Spurrier throwing to Charlie Casey, or Reeves to Alvarez, or there's about 6 of them. Even Tebow, although it wasn't a great pass, the tight end pass to take Casey. Those are significant. Those were burned in my mind. And that's how it felt, because I want you to break down the throw that Lagway made, the touchdown. Well, it actually was a 1 yard line. What a throw he made, and how he made it. With that, he wasn't mobile for Shane. He almost like pushed the ball on like a bounce pass up there. Talk about that.
Well, DJ's got a unique ability. The good Lord blessed him with. He's got a really good release, or quick release, and a very strong arm. But he throws the ball, a very catchable ball. He made some good throws, and then he made some poor throws. I try to be, when I watch quarterbacks play, regardless if they're Gators, where they play for Georgia, where it doesn't matter, I look at the big picture. And nobody plays a perfect game in football at the quarterback position. I think DJ, we all know he's going to be a great player. He will get better. We need him to get better at the intermediate stuff, right? 50% was his completion percentage, but he hit so many big plays that people forget about the other stuff, that could have thrown 3 interceptions early in the game. Just, he doesn't look comfortable in those intermediate routes because there are a lot of bodies in the way. But the deep ball he hit to he threw a sluggo that they had tremendous coverage on the first touchdown to Badger.
Explain that sluggo. I heard you talk about it on the radio.
It's just a slant and go, man coverage. It was just one-on-one, like playing out in the yard. They had great coverage on it, honestly. Badger ran a good route, but he was covered. DJ had tremendous ball placement on it, and Badger did an extremely good job of flashing his hands last second, where the defender had no chance of knocking it down. And then the other throw down to the 1 yard line, Barber got beat. He stepped up in the pocket and probably should have thrown it to DK on the corner route, the shorter corner route, because there was nobody within 15 yards of him. But he threw it down the field to Elijah Badger, and it was a great throw. And I will say this. What DK and Badger do, they have so much savvy as wide receivers, how they shield defenders off and catch the football to help the quarterback. Those two guys will be missed next year because of how they play the game. But DJ, he's got a unique skill set that the good Lord's blessed him with, buddy. I mean, there's, when you look at the Jaden Daniels of the world, they got stuff that you can't teach. The Caleb Williams, those guys that are now playing as rookies in the NFL. And DJ has all that. And he will get better. I just want him to get better mostly at the other stuff. My favorite play of the game was on the last drive. I don't remember if it was second or third down. We were in a bunch formation, motion ball out to empty. And we ran like a spacing concept. That's just what we call it in the NFL, where you read left to right, and he threw a strike. They didn't cover Hayden Hansen, and he made a good read right on him. That sealed the game, quite honestly.
You're right. That was a great
balls run, put it away, which was a phenomenal design football play. I've never seen a play designed like that. Yeah. So you got to tip your hat to the offensive staff.
Shane, talk about the fact that they'd missed those two senior guys. You got to remember Wilson, is there, and Mizell is there, and how much better will they be a year from now? There's some talent there, but I want to get back to the throws. I would never, ever try to compare my knowledge about quarterbacks to yours, because you know more in your left finger and I'll never know. But I want to say one thing. I know when I see something exceptional, I know it. And the thing is that this quarterback is so gifted. You talk about, he made some bad plays. Some of those plays he made were phenomenal. I mean, you just don't see that kind of stuff,
Right. And so, like I said, I try to look at the big picture. Mm-hmm. And is DJ going to make bad plays? Absolutely he is. But you're right. He makes phenomenal throws. And he may be his entire career a guy who just makes big plays, doesn't make the average play, right? Which is fine if you win the game. So, like I said, the good Lord blesses people with different skill set, and he was blessed.
Yeah. People say, what's a big deal? I've got so many people. I wrote a column talking about the whole situation, even Coach Spurrier's role in it, although I know that some people poo-pooed it saying it was ridiculous, whatever. But the point is that this is significant when everybody gets on the same page. Even though Steve Spurrier, what he said, people say, oh, it's ridiculous. Why I say that's ridiculous? Well, no, it's not, because it impacted the players, and Billy said so after the game. He said the players knew it, and it wasn't the smartest thing anybody ever did or said, but it impacted the game, it impacted the players. And Billy said, as he said, his ball yard, his plays, he's always going to have his place around there. He's special. He was trying to do something to help this team. Whether we agree with the idea or not is another thing. The fact they left him on the field and nobody went down there after they put all those threatening messages on the board. That kind of ticked me off in a way. But then the point is, whether he did or didn't, he did try to do something. It was a really good feeling to be back in the swamp again. It almost felt like the good old days, when it was fun to go and you saw exceptional plays. And there's something going on there. I was on a show tonight in Mississippi, ask about the game on Saturday. Do I think Florida will win? Probably not. But they only got to win one more to be in a bowl eligible again. And then I thought, well, okay, where we came from, here's the thing, Shane. When people say you make too much out of nothing, when you've been starved for something, when you haven't eaten in a week, and somebody puts a hamburger down in front of you, it might as well be filet mignon because you're hungry. You want something. And this taste is so good because it's been a long, long time. You got spoiled, and you spoiled us, Shane, by winning all those games. People are tired of it. I wrote a column saying, I've had it with that LSU. I've had it with LSU when it fights. It's time to stop this crap, you know. And it was. 5 years is too long. I couldn't be happier that it happened to a guy like Brian Kelly. I know I have a friend who has a good friend out in LSU and close to the program, and he said the same thing, the LSU program. So, and I know we talked about it before the game. You said 26-10 is great. You take the record. I just don't like Brian Kelly. I'm sorry. I don't like him.
No, I don't like him either. I don't think anybody likes him, quite honestly.
Right now, they shouldn't like him very much. I can tell you that. They're not happy. So, good day to be a Gator. Good day to be in the Swamp. And now we'll see where this thing gathers. Did you watch any other games at all? I'm sure you watched some of Georgia, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, I watched the whole game.
Yeah. And I don't know what's so wrong with Georgia. I know you say there's nothing wrong with the QB, but they had plenty of points. They have to worry about it. But the Tennessee quarterback, I'm going to use a line that you gave me, couldn't play dead at a Western.
He's not very good. You'll never convince me he's a good quarterback. He's extremely inconsistent. And I think Tennessee, they got a tremendous rushing attack, but their passing game is not very good. And it's probably going to cost them from making the playoffs.
Speaking of which, we'll size all those up. And I want you to give me a rundown of what you saw this weekend and where you think this Ole Miss fits into the picture. I know we talked about Lane a bunch and about his quarterback situation and what have you. I want you to break it down for me. First, I want to tell folks, talked to Jeffrey Meldon today. Was able to help a good friend of a friend who had a real problem legally. This person was up against it and had some insurance companies coming to her, trying to take everything she had, and I said, well, let's call a man who might know. And sure enough, Jeffrey was able to give us some help. When you're in desperate need of something like that, and all of your assets are up for grabs, boy, you sure want that attorney. Jeffrey stepped in to give us some names, and my friend Carl's not able to call. And that's what he does over there. We tend to forget because he's such a big, big fan. He's, of course, the official law firm of the University of Florida for injuries, for injured, not on the field, but injuries out on the car access, etc. Injury law firm. He also is a huge Gator fan. He's been around here for a long time. He's invested. He does plenty of shows, sponsors them. We appreciate that. And let me just tell you, if you want to take advantage of Jeffrey, go to his Facebook page. They're giving away stuff all the time. They just gave away a trip. And they give away tickets, basketball tickets, gymnastics tickets, football tickets. Meldon Law. They do practice law. 4 locations in serving, now 1 in Williston, along with Ocala, Gainesville, and Lake City. Meldon Law. They won't back down. All right, Shane, what do you know now you didn't know Friday? Tell me about what you saw on the weekend and whether or not this thing is going to wind up like we think it will with Texas A&M winner taking on probably Alabama, huh?
Oh, I think still there's a lot to be determined who's going to go to Atlanta. I do think 4 SEC teams will get into the playoffs. I don't know which 4 those are because a lot will be determined in the next couple of weeks. I do think we're going to face the best team in the league, quite honestly. That's my personal opinion. Whether people agree with it or not, I don't care. We all have our opinions, but I think they're the most complete team in the league right now. They're probably upset that they had to have a bye week because they were playing such good football, but they get back their top receiver and their top running back for our game. So we'll see. I think it's a good test for the Gators to see where we are, how much we are improving. But it should be a lot of fun to face this team. I wish it wasn't a noon game, but it is. We got to deal with it because I wish it was a little bit later.
Well, at least it's noon in the swamp and not noon in Jackson, Mississippi or something, you know?
Well, yeah, it'd be 11 there, but I think, Ole Miss is not going to bring I talked to some friends of mine from Oxford, or not Oxford, but Ole Miss alumni. They haven't sold their entire allotment of tickets, which is surprising. And I think it's probably because of the early start.
Yeah. I want to get back to why games like this matter. People come, well, it's not big. It is. You see the recruiting, what's happened on the uptick. Florida got 2 or 3 or 4 recruits over the weekend, flipped a couple of guys, got a 4-star quarterback from Florida State. They got 3 or 4 players because of that win. So you just can't say, well, it doesn't mean anything. It does mean something, and this one meant something. So we forget because you and I don't follow it that closely, but boy, it's all about that.
I do not follow it at all.
Well, you have to, Shane, because you got to know.
No.
Well, okay.
I don't. Because like you said, we do know that they flipped some kids, but those kids could flip in the next 2 weeks to somewhere else. So, I mean, until they sign with us, there's no reason to worry about it. That's just my thoughts.
I don't think the Gator Nation feels that way. Your listeners don't feel that way. And
no, a lot of people enjoy that. I could care less about it until they actually sign, and then we know who they are. Then we can figure out and learn.
You get a
more
long-term commit someplace. It's been committed for a year someplace. This kid Jones, the Florida State quarterback, 4-star, whatever. It has to resonate when you realize you're picking off some people that were prized recruits. And let's not forget, Shane, that everybody talked about what a bad recruiter Billy is. And back to another thing. Again, you might say it doesn't matter, it's just one win. When you're in the desert and you got anything to drink for a week, a sip of water tastes awfully good, man. It really does. So,
but I didn't say it didn't matter, buddy. I just said I don't care about the recruiting.
I'm not talking about you. No, I'm
yeah.
not talking about you. Just I understand your point is. Anyway, that's the deal. All right, so here's a guy who saw it, who interviewed the coaches, talked to people, and he follows it pretty well. He's on our show quite often. Kevin Brockway. Good evening to you, Kev.
Good evening. I agree with Shane. Recruiting is all silliness. It's we would call it,
Sure.
for every Chris Walker was a 5-star. Scotty Wilbekin was a 3-star. You never know until they get here and they develop and everything. And I advise people that follow that and do that closely. Go to the beach, fly a kite, do something more productive with your time. Come on,
play golf.
Enough.
You're
already,
both nuts, okay? That's not how it goes, okay?
I know. It's a generational thing. It started with the internet, and in the early 2000s, and they started ranking these guys.
This is 2024, and things have changed.
I know.
Anyway, so all right, so Shane and I've been talking.
Yes.
Shane's watching Monday Night Football, probably the Manicast.
Damn right I am.
He was he's dialed in, partly out, but he gave us some good commentary earlier on about DJ Lagway. And you saw it. I told Shane I saw plays I haven't seen a quarterback maybe ever make, I don't know, there that looked like they were big time. And I didn't see, couldn't think of anybody else who made those plays. I was already sold a long time ago. And now I'm not going to sit here and gloat and say I told you so, because any Stevie Wonder could see this guy's talent. Besides that, what you saw, Kevin, you saw a terrific young player, and what's your takeaway about number 2?
Well, he's 3-0 as a starter in games that he's finished. Okay. And you want to know why Billy Napier's keeping his job? It's because of DJ Lagway, plain and simple, and what he's managed to do and how he lifts everyone around him too. I think that I think it even goes to the defense too, and obviously we saw how dispirited and, dejected the defense was at Texas with Aiden Warner at quarterback. And people forget that game too. I mean, they gave away 21 points on turnovers in that game. So I think that, kind of like Billy Napier likes to say complementary football, it feeds off each other. And I think what DJ Lagway does offensively, even what a guy like Jaden Baugh does, certainly with his big run at the end of the game, I think it all feeds into that kind of belief in the direction. And certainly this was a nice win. His first ranked win, against since Tennessee last year. And listen, LSU has their problems, but at the same time, you kind of thought that this was going to be a gauntlet backstretch of the schedule. And now you probably have a chance to pick up at least 2 wins with the way FSU struggling at the end of the year. And we'll see about Ole Miss. I think that's going to be a much taller task as Shane thinks as well.
We'll get back to that, and I want to talk about Lagway, and I want to talk about Baugh as well, a guy I loves this, and what a terrific player he's become. But tonight, I want to wait till you got on, Kevin. Shane, you're a former high school coach. Your dad was one. I want to take off my hat. Well, I did take it off, matter of fact, and I didn't put it on, and tip it to John Brantley. All right? He retired today. He hung it up.
Yep.
And what he represented there at Tennessee and, in Ocala, three state championships, 5 districts. Developed some good players, not least of which is Florida starting center is so good. And he's done it really well over the years. And he's invested. His whole family has had a brand of its own, from the day one. And Scott, his brother, great guy. All the best to Scott. He's had some health challenges. Of course, then Johnny, the fourth. And remember, John is John the third. People forget you say John the third. You mean John the coach? No. John the coach is John the third. I just want to give you guys a chance to chime in with me on this. What it means to have a guy like John Brantley in your neighborhood, and to devote his time and effort to high school players, and to bring a program along like that, take over for Kerwin Bell and carry the legacy. Shane, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Trinity's, I'd say outside of Vanguard has had a tremendous success in football down in that area in Marion County. And, Kerwin won a state title. Brantley got one as well. And they both did a phenomenal job building. I mean, because Kerwin had to start the program from scratch. And Brantley had 2 stints there, I believe, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, high school coaches, there's a saying out there that a high school coach will have more influence on an athlete than any other coach he'll ever have the rest of his life. And it's true. It's hard to be a high school coach, especially in the state of Florida. They are not paid like they should be paid, like other states. They don't have the resources, the facilities. But yeah, there's nothing like coaching high school football. And John did it very well. And at some point you just can't do it anymore. And now he'll be able to spend a little more time with the family.
And by the way, Steve Spurrier's first quarterback was not Shane Matthews. It was John Brantley, because he was a quarterback coach under Doug Dickey, and so he was his first quarterback.
How about that? And Johnny Brantley, the third, has been nothing but kind to me over my years. Buddy, I would help out with high school football when I was a basketball reporter in my first stint here. And of course, John the fourth I covered too, and he had the weight of expectations of following Tim Tebow, which wasn't easy. Kind of had that up and down year in 2010. I believe CJ Mosley had a big hit on him and laid him out, and he had a concussion that season and so forth. But I'll tell you a funny Trinity Catholic story when Kerwin Bell was coaching and Urban Meyer was on the sideline. That's when they were recruiting Brantley, and they got him to flip from Texas. And Antonio Allen was on that team. I believe he played for the Jets. He played South Carolina and so forth. And Williston gave him a heck of a game. And afterwards, I interviewed the Williston coach. The Williston coach said, that wasn't a bad effort facing the Marion County All-Stars. Referring to the fact that Trinity Catholic could recruit and, Williston couldn't. But that was, that's kind of a funny Trinity Catholic story. But aside, but John Brantley III, great guy, class guy. Wish him all the best in retirement and their family.
You take what you got. I know I've had several high school coaches come crying to me about it. We can't recruit. Well, you know what? That's the system.
Well, that was back in the day. Now everybody can recruit.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And Shane, I'll give you the final word. Since your dad was a coach, you were a coach. These unsung high school coaches, as you say, have such a terrific impact on these young men.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy now. I mean, I coach kids middle school. The little league. It wasn't called Paul Porter back in those days, but I'll be in town, I'll be somewhere else, and whether it's at the gas station, grocery store, and hey, Coach Shane, how we doing? Yeah, I can't remember who they are, but they come up and I ask them what they're up to these days, and it's one of those deals that I don't think if you are not involved in athletics, I don't think the people understand, not just football coaches, but basketball, any sport, how much high school coaches, as I said, influence kids and do a lot of stuff for them. And they're like a father figure to these kids. And I really enjoyed it when I did it. I miss it, but I don't miss the long, long hours. It's rough.
Well, you saw Bobby Stoops told me one time he came from a coaching family, and all three of Almost brothers coached. And Bobby told me the story about coming home at night after practice. And his dad would come to dinner, and he would show pictures, motion pictures then on the refrigerator. He remembered seeing games on the refrigerator because there was no time,
My dad used to watch the film on the wall, not the refrigerator, the wall.
Yeah.
But I don't think in my 3 years of high school, I bet I didn't have dinner with me, my mom, and dad 10 times together.
Yeah.
Because I played football, baseball, and basketball. My dad was not only the football coach, but the athletic director. So he had to be at every sporting event, and usually had, back in those days, you had to turn the lights out, close the gym, lock it up. So as soon as my games were over, I'd go home. My mom would have dinner for me. I'd eat. I was one of these guys that would go to bed immediately. Like I would not stay up past 10 o'clock, and I'd see him at school the next day.
That's what you did. We were told not to drink carbonated drinks. They were bad for you. So, you can't do that. So, and you've seen it too. You've been around Kevin a lot too. These high school coaches are so dedicated. I think they figured out one time they made about 20 cents an hour, back when they didn't make anything. Make a whole lot now. But they do shape a lot of lives, don't they, Kevin?
Yeah, no question. And I think the mentorship and the fact that you can get someone at that age where they're really, 15 to 8 years old, where they really, you can mold them into, not just good athletes, but good citizens too. And I think the best ones are the ones that do that. They can kind of, mix the two and, have these, people go on to be productive lives, be good fathers, family members, husbands, first and foremost.
All right, guys, what we got here? We got a success or a failure, because this thing can still go either way. If it all goes according to chalk, I guess we'll probably wind up with a Texas A&M Texas winner versus Alabama. I'm not sure. But on the other hand, it has been inconsistent, exciting, and different. We may have something totally different, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't like not having the divisions. I never did, because there's so much uncertainty and you have so many. This is just the behemoth conferences, buddy. Like the whole, nobody's playing each other, unbalanced schedules. It's I'm not a big fan, and Florida's not in that position yet where they're going to contend. But if they ever are in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of fans grumbling if there's a fifth or sixth tiebreaker that doesn't go their way because they didn't play a certain team that another team did. I'm not a fan. But that being said, it will make it. Texas and Texas A&M will be a very exciting high stakes game for sure. You could have Texas going to the SEC championship game in their first year in the league. I mean. They were in the CFP last year. They did win the Big 12 last year. And watching them in person, and I'm sure Shane will agree with me, I mean, a very well-coached team, too. I mean, Steve Sarkisian, that's a guy that knows what he's doing, excellent play caller. And they've built that roster to be SEC ready for sure, unlike Oklahoma, of course.
So if we did have the East and the West, Georgia would be playing the winner of the A&M Texas game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? Has it been successful, Shane?
Oh, I liked it both ways. I think it's really exciting this year. I do think it's kind of not silly, but it's kind of strange that it may be better if you don't play in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's take Ole Miss for example, and buddy, you keep saying Alabama. Is Alabama like I haven't seen the tiebreakers if everybody has 2 losses.
I don't know. Franz will know.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just use Ole Miss for example. If they run the table, they'll end up 10-2. Bad loss to Kentucky pretty much on the last play on like a 4th and 8 go route, cost them the game. And then they gave up like a 4th and 18 or whatever it was to LSU that forced overtime and lost there. But it may work out that they don't have to go to Atlanta and they get in the playoffs. So I don't know what to think about it. But it's probably going to favor the SEC teams that don't have to go to Atlanta.
Franz, what's the situation? Who do you project being in the final game?
Well, here's the deal: is Texas and A&M both only have 1 loss. So if they, so the winner of that game will probably only have 1 loss. That is, unless Kentucky Kentucky wins this weekend, or whoever the Aggies play. I don't even know. I think they play somebody, I guess. But if they both go into that game with 1 loss, the winner there will be in. Now, Shane brings up a good point, and so does Kevin here, that it's better off, for example, if Ole Miss can win its next 2 ball games, Ole Miss better hope and pray they don't go to the SEC championship game, because then if they lose, they got 3 losses and they're out. Now, you win the SEC and you're in, of course. Now, the same is true for Georgia. Georgia gets in there, and if they lose, they're out. 3 losses. That ain't going to cut it. Tennessee has got 2 losses. They've got 2 ball games. They got UTEP this week, which they win, but then they got Vanderbilt in Nashville. That's a game the way Vanderbilt has played. Vanderbilt could win. Vanderbilt wins, Tennessee's out. 3 losses. It's amazing how this thing has worked out. Alabama loses to Auburn. They're out. Guess what?
Yeah.
So
I guess it's
chaos. It's chaos, and you know what? I love it.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Auburn's got Texas A&M also at Jordan Hare. So that's the next game that Texas A&M. So Auburn could really play spoiler here. And hey, so could the Gators, and you never know. And like I said, Lagway is 3-0 in games that he started and finished. So, I wouldn't, as long as he stays healthy, I wouldn't count the Gators out.
Shane,
think about this. You want to know about keeping the interest in college football. Mm-hmm. Usually we go into this time of the SEC and we know who the East Division is going to be. We know who the West Division is going to be and everything. But now we go in there and think about this. Vanderbilt has a say in who wins. Auburn has a say in who wins. Florida has a say in who wins. Kentucky has a say in who wins. You got 5 teams out there that could make it, and you got 4 other teams that all have a say in who's going to get into the SEC championship game. And
so that's what I want to know. I'm asking you guys. I'm asking Shane Matthews. Can Florida beat this Mississippi team, Shane?
I would say we'd have to get multiple turnovers, and Jackson Dart doesn't need to. He'll have to play really poor. I think it's, like I said, I think it's the most complete team we faced all year. I think it's the most complete team in the league. That's just my opinion.
All right. So, all right. What's that line? Probably about 8.5.
10 points. 10
10, I
points.
think.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
it's 9. I saw somewhere 10.
Yeah.
They might be the best team they're better than Texas. I know that. So we'll see about Alabama as a team. Scare me. All right.
10.5 is it moved up to 10.5. All the
Yeah.
All right. Kevin, do you think they can beat Mississippi?
No, I agree with Shane. Unless you get multiple turnovers, I mean they're number one in the league in so many offensive categories. Also, the best run-stopping team in the league, and Nolan, and obviously, and the best pass rushing team in the SEC. Get the most sacks.
What they do so well defensively is they got their front four can get after you, man. They got Princely because Princely is playing really well, but the reason is because he's got 3 other dudes that they have to account for.
Yeah.
That are outstanding interior and outside rushers. They can get after the quarterback for sure.
Brantley coming back. That's right. I think he'll get a few boos. All right, Franz, give me your take on this. We'll get you to hang around, but give me your take. Can it beat Ole Miss?
Anything is possible. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky in Oxford.
Yeah.
So anything is possible. But stars and planets are going to have to align. Florida's offensive line is going to have a game basically like they had against LSU in that DJ Lagway can't be sacked. If they start Ole Miss, having watched them considerably this year, they get in feeding frenzies, and once they get one sack, it just seems like they multiply. They go into they start getting frothy, and it's kind of like Florida was in the second half against LSU. One guy gets a sack, and next thing you know, one after another. Florida has to protect DJ, number one. And number two, if Trey Harris plays, I don't think we've got a corner who can cover him. And right now, I'm guessing that he's going to play. He could have played last week, I'm told. Didn't. They kept him because they had an open date, so they kept him out to give him 2 weeks to work out. If Trey Harris plays, there's absolutely no way. Florida has nobody who can cover him.
And
I don't know that there's anybody in the country.
Let's take a space point of you here on this subject. I'm going to talk about Jaden Ball for a second.
Sure.
I'm going to gloat a little bit because I've been on him since day one. I've really liked him a lot since that time. He looks like he's better than I thought. How good can Jaden Ball be, Kevin?
No, I mean, in a game like this, it's going to be tough. But I think overall, I think he's, got a tremendously bright future, buddy. In terms of, and I think we talked about this before when Ernest Graham watched him in the spring game and talked about his combination of power and vision too, and the way he sees things, and that he seems like for someone his age, he's already a very cerebral back as well. And certainly, that 55-yard run, certainly was a home run, and it's been a nice replacement for Trevor Etienne. I can tell you that, and I think that he's got a really good future. But like I said, in this game, I think it's going to be pretty tough to run the football, based on what Ole Miss has done and their front is concerned. And look, it was pretty tough to run against LSU before Bob popped that big run in the fourth quarter.
Well, don't run, throw. Shane, why would you use that guy? Throw to that guy. I wonder if he can catch the ball very well. He's fast. He's got moves. He haven't thrown to him at all. What about DJ? What about Jaden Ball as a potential, not just a screen pass, but using him as a little swing pass guy?
Well, I think we've done that a little bit. We don't run a lot of traditional running back screens for whatever reason, and that a lot of that sometimes has to do with your lineman getting out, whether they do that well or not. But yeah, Jaden Ball's a good football player. We split them out and we go empty a lot or motion the back out. So he did. I want to say he caught a hitch the other day for about 4 yards. So obviously he's got pretty decent hands, or they wouldn't put him in there and in that formation.
And also we talked about this, France. You and I have. You got a guy who can block the blitz, unlike ETN when he was there. Big difference having him back there to protect the quarterback.
Same with Jacoby. Jacoby flat out put some people on the ground the other day. He is an extraordinary pass catcher. I was absolutely surprised. I mean, I thought Montrell and Trey Webb were going to be a really good 1-2 connection in the running game, and they both got hurt. I thought at the time Trayon got hurt, I thought that Jaden Ball was certainly going to be the number 2 guy. But then Montrell gets hurt, and they haven't missed a beat. And they're going to be back next year. This is going to be a really dynamic 1-2 punch in the running game with these 2 guys. And from what I'm told, this kid from Mississippi, KD Daniels, Shane, you've seen him practice. I'm told he's a make you miss guy in a heartbeat. He can really turn on the jets once he gets to the second level.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, so guys, it's looking good. It's fun again to get to the swamp. And by the way, we have well over 400 people viewing the show tonight. Another indication of the fact that they love all you guys, but also the fact that Gator football now is getting a little buzzed again. It's fun again, and I'm so happy to see this. It's fun to talk about and watch and cover Gator football. Shane, talk to you in the morning. We'll do this again. Don't forget you can catch Bottom with Matthews 5 days a week. Also, he does the color analyst for the University of Florida and Football Network, and he's around. Thanks, Shane.
Take care, guys.
All right, thanks, guys. Shane. I want to tell them about our friends up there at Titan MRI, and you guys know about this because you heard me talk about it. Then I want you guys to break it down for me and tell me about some of this talent. I want to talk about the receiving core, Mizell. I want to talk about Wilson's out this year, but I want to talk about what Billy Gonzalez has done again with these 2 guys who are basically free agents coming in, making them look like NFL players. I want to talk about Jaden Ball and how good can DJ Lagway be? Very good. All right. First of all, I want to tell you about this is important. If you want an MRI, you need one, and you never know when you do it. When you need it, you got to have it. And you think you get stuck someplace in this place where they have these little tubes they put you in. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to go spend half my day waiting. And I got to go down there and wait and get claustrophobic. No, you don't have to. Titan MRI speaks to that and what they do. I encourage you to go online, look them up, titanmri.com, and they make sure you're pleased with the time of your appointment. If you can't come during the week when you're working, no problem. They'll set up something for you at night or weekends. They do that. They also want you to know they're aware of the claustrophobia that some of us guys like Franz Beard and I have. We get in there because we're big guys. And they also want to they have a little bigger tubes for you to get in there. And also then, like I say, you never know when you're going to need one. Maybe your insurance not up to date. You think, oh my gosh, I have to go pay it. Well, they'll fix you there too, and they won't kill you. They'll give you an opportunity to get a MRI with your card or your cash and get it taken care of. Nothing more important than your health. TitanMRI.com. All right, guys. Here we are. It's time. And this season can be and is being salvaged. Look at the recruiting news today, Kevin. They landed 3 or 4 guys. Franz, I know you know a little bit about that. This quarterback from Florida State, 4-star. It's making a difference. It's making a difference. And people say, well, it's not much of a game. It is a game. And I, for one, am sick and tired of losing to those guys anyway. But the fact that the residual impact, Kevin, of winning this game has lit the swamp and lit up the Gator Nation and got people excited.
Well, I do think that people are excited, too, about playing with DJ Lagway. You know, the fact that you have offensive guys, and I think some of these receivers, too. And, you know, you mentioned about DK and Badger, and unfortunately, they're only 1-year rentals. But and we'll see how Trey Wilson comes back from the hip surgery, obviously, and you've got Mizell. But there are going to be some opportunities. And, Vernell Brown's kid is obviously coming here. That's going to be really big as well. And he's a borderline, 4 or 5 star kid who can, potentially make an impact. And see, I know a little bit about recruiting, guys. I'm not, but I just think sometimes, and I know it's important in a way, but I just think sometimes the rankings we overvalue and undervalue because I've seen it over my 20 years. I've seen. So, how many stars did Jaden Baugh have? 3, maybe?
3.
Exactly.
I don't go by the star ratings, but I'm also smart enough to know that when a quarterback, 4-star quarterback, has been committed to a school for a long time and you flip him, that's a big deal, friends, when that happens.
Well, it is. And the other thing is going to possibly happen out of this thing is Tramel Jones, who's this quarterback who's out of Mandarin in Jacksonville, who is committed to Florida State. He has a teammate who is a 5-star wide receiver named Jaime French, and that's with 2 F's, F-F-R-E-N-C-H. And he's committed to Texas. It may be that he gets flipped as well. There's a lot of things that are on the table now. This game really generated a lot of interest, and particularly among these guys who are committed to FSU, because they've been going to FSU games where the crowds are not so hot and the fans aren't happy, and lots of fans disguised as empty seats. And they come here, and Florida's not having a great year on, as far as a 1-loss record. But the Swamp's electric. The Swamp is absolutely electric. And I guarantee you that plays, there we are, I can say it, that plays into recruiting. These guys, Tony Permiter, Solomon Thomas, definitely, I think Solomon Thomas will flip to Florida. He's a guy out of Jacksonville Reigns. He's like 6'4", 6'5", right? About 330 tackle, and really a beast. And George saying he definitely coming to Florida. I've heard that's really close on that one. But he's a very good player who could come. Jaime French, though, could definitely come. There's another kid on that same Mandarin team named Hilton Stubbs. And Kevin, he's committed to your boys at the U. But, how many, that's another guy. There's a kid named Tavion Wallace who's committed to Arkansas. He's a 4-star linebacker out of Baxley, Georgia, which is just up the road. On and on like that. Now, the guy that they've got to get, absolutely, positively have to get, buddy, they have to get this guy, if nothing more than for his name, and they've offered him. He is a defensive lineman out of Butler County Community College in Kansas. His name is Seven Cloud. You got to.
Pretty good name.
You got to get this guy.
That's on the
Jaime French with 2 F's and Seven Cloud. I mean, you win the name battle for sure.
I like it. Yes, I do. Well, it sure is a different feeling about things now out there. And France, you and I were at we were all 3 at the game on Saturday night. And it was, I wouldn't say it reminded you. It was the same as when Irvin and Steve were here. But you began to get a little nostalgic, Kevin, about what it used to be like back in the day.
Oh, yeah, no question. And I think that when you talk about what Billy is building, I think is definitely positive in terms of, the depth is starting. You're starting to see some layers there, which I think is good. I do think it's interesting, though, when you were talking about FSU fans, and I harken back to Jim Boeheim told me this once about 10 or 15 years ago about the one thing that probably FSU could sell that, Florida could sell, and I think Billy did probably a good job selling his first 2 years as opportunity. The fact that, some of these kids can come in and play right away. But I think Billy has probably built it to the point now where, some of these kids are going to have to wait their time. And maybe that's a good thing because of the fact that, you're starting to see this young core develop that are going to be sophomores and juniors. Now, transfer portal can change that, but I think the culture is built in such a way. And if you finish off the season the right way, you get to a bowl game, I think the momentum will be such that you're going to see a lot of these kids stick around.
Here's the thing, buddy. Florida's top 22 guys that started Saturday against LSU, 17 of them are coming back. That's not too bad. 17 coming back. And if you go back a couple games ago before all the injuries, and it's more like about 19 out of 22. Saturday, 42 guys played who could be back next year. Now, again, you don't know about how some of these guys who didn't start are going to handle the portal. But I got told today by somebody I trust who knows the program pretty well that Billy Napier has agents calling him from all over the country with wide receivers who take a look at what has happened with Jameer DK, who's averaging like 19 yards a catch, and with Elijah Badger, who's averaging like 24 yards a catch. And they're looking at this kid throwing the deep ball, and they're saying, if my guy can catch deep balls, we'd like to come here because we're tired of these little 10 and 12-yard completions. You could see that happening. And a quarterback who can throw can certainly make a big difference. This is why I think Florida may have a chance. There's a wide receiver who is committed to Oregon, who's like a 5-star guy out of Tampa. And Dylan Graham's not going to be there next year. Okay. What are you going to do? Who's going to throw the football to you? Whereas you can stay here in the state of Florida and 2 hours up the road, you got a guy that can throw it. So a lot of things can happen.
I want to say, if you read the comments about Lagway, all the way down the sheet later on, he made a reference to the fact all of a sudden he's getting a lot of calls from players. They say, hit me up. I'll give me some information on this school. What's going on? Help me out. They're asking him. And by the way, it cannot be emphasized enough that Lagway recruited his team. How much he did by making a statement, holding the faith, staying the course, come a small town in Texas and Willis, being everything and more than what they thought he would be, and then being a 5-star person as well. And the character he showed in this, if they win anything, they ought to build a statue to Lagway because he has been amazing in that regard. And they're going to – and it's just starting, friends. It's just starting. A lot more guys say, hey, wait a minute. Hope he lights up Ole Miss for 4 more, We got to go down there and see what this guy is,
I said Dylan. I'm sorry. I said Dylan Griffin. It's Dylan Gabriel. My mind. I don't know where my mind was.
Dylan Graham was a former Gator basketball player. Yeah.
Let's just be honest, friends. You're old, okay?
I am. There's no question about it. Old fartitude suits me well. I got to tell you something. And since we're running short on time, I got to mention this. What I would really like to see Saturday is they're going to announce the seniors, of course. Yeah. And we're going to come up to Graham Mertz. And you know what would be so fitting would be for this team to run out there and put him on their shoulders and haul him in. He's got a lot to do with the success of this team this year because because he came back. A lot of guys stayed because he came back. DJ Lagway has been coached up, and as Kevin and I found out this morning, he's in that meeting room every day, and he is still coaching up DJ Lagway. Yeah. And this is a guy that whose impact on this program is going to be felt for years to come. And I'd really love to see the guys on this team come get him and haul him out there.
Yeah. And let's not forget, too, with Mertz, I mean, he made a sacrifice. Even before he was injured, he made the sacrifice and allowing DJ to come in and get reps during games. I mean, he could have been copped an attitude about that even, and didn't, and instead was completely supportive in helping him be the heir apparent. And then, obviously the unfortunate injury at Tennessee just kind of paved the way for it to become DJ's job. But even before that, I think that, Graham, certainly displayed a lot of character there because, he could have been upset about, wanting to play full games and pad his stats for the NFL level. And he didn't pout. He was, he's always been a first-class kid and deserves every, ounce of ovation he gets on Saturday, which hopefully will be a good one.
Great point by Kevin Brockway, and you him in the games of the sun. I'll give you your minute, Franz. And of course, by Franz Bird of Gator Bait, if you're not subscribed, you ought to be. Franz, you got 15 seconds to wrap it up.
I am also hearing that Graham Mertz could be on the SEC network next year, that there is a standing offer to him to come be on that program next year as either on their version of Game Day or as an analyst or something. But they love the guy.
Well, he's got to go play pro ball. He wants to play pro ball, so we'll see. You have to heal up for a little bit. But anyway, great stuff, guys. Great job. We'll see you at the ball yard on Saturday for the Ole Miss Rebels coming to town for our noon game. Thanks a lot. Great job.
Sounds good.
All right. Branch Beard and Kevin Brockway from the Games of the Sun. I didn't even talk basketball tonight either. Maybe next time. We have friends back on Thursday night. And don't forget, once again, subscribe to the program. And also go on to GatorBaitMedia.com and find out what's being written over there. Some terrific writing by Carlton Reese, Franz Beard. We've got other people that you read and are going to read more of in the future. So check it out. Meanwhile, I want to tell you to check this out. These are people that make a big difference in our community in Ocala. I'm here tonight, by the way. Good to be home again. And this bed and breakfast, a little different looking place. If you're interested in your health, and I know you are, you want to pay attention to this. That we've been benefiting from this for quite some time by the people who want you to know why these particular clinical trials work. Because you need information and you need to get out there and take part in some of these clinical trials. And they will be able to help the people who do this kind of work, who put together these trials, to get information to send it off. And my friends over there, certainly Mary Brantley, married to Scott, and Joe Sorrentino, his son, played ball in Florida. Westar Medical Research, they are doing it for you and for them and for our community. Finding out more about what they need to know to give you better help and more the right kind of prescriptions. I encourage you to go to renstar.net and check out if they have any clinical trials. Go take part in one. You can be paid for time and travel. You also can find out about your own health. You also can get access to investigational medications you couldn't get elsewhere. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you for them. Thanks to my friends over at Melvin Law and, of course, TitanMRI.com for sponsoring this program. Tomorrow night, Lauren Meadows has a special guest. You'll know him. He played ball at Florida. He'll be on the program tomorrow with Rob and the guys and doing a great job there for us over there. And back home Wednesday night, we'll have Scott Carter. We'll have Allie Pete Wilbur and some others. Big week for the Florida Gators and a big week for the SEC. And it's going to be fun around here again. Matter of fact, I think it already is fun. Has been tonight, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.